All ready? Okay, folks, I show 7:30 p.m. All rise for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Village Board, Village of Red Hook meeting, monthly meeting, June 3, 2013. We have our agendas, and we have some folks in the audience. I thought we might try to work it so we move with some logic to listen to them and move them on. What I'll do first is the ordinary business. We'll call for review of the clerk's minutes. In the past month of May, we slowed down a little bit. We only had 3 meetings in that month after the wild budget seasons. So we had minutes from May 6th, May 16th, and then May 30th. So May 6th would have been the normal monthly meeting, and then 16th and 30th were workshops. I've had a chance to...
There's a public hearing in there too on the 16th.
Yeah, the 16th there too, in front of the May 16th workshop meeting. I've had a chance to go through them. We talked about one briefly at the workshop last week. We were talking about the need for a seeker at the for the work we did on the display show legislation we're working on. I think at that meeting we talked about it, but we did agree that there should be a seeker, not a no seeker required, and we had that voted on later in the workshop. But I would just suggest we correct that from no seeker to yes, a seeker is required. Were there any other changes, additions, or alterations?
No.
Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept those series of minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So voted. And what we'll do, instead of going to committee and department reports, we have tonight, we wanted to work on a resolution that has to do with county and municipal sharing agreements and arrangements. We have a chance to work with other municipalities in the county on a planning and zoning software package. We currently use a locally developed and locally owned company for our current program to do control and monitoring of planning and zoning. They've got updated and upgraded models out there now, and we're in the need for such a model. And ironically, the county is promoting shared services and offering some options. One is that large grant system that they've offered, where a bunch of munis being spearheaded by Hyde Park is looking to grab a roster of municipalities that would buy a software program like this and then share it amongst themselves, with the county essentially fronting the purchase money. And then we would have to use the annual mandate, the annual, what would the term be for the maintenance money each year? It'd be, we would avoid that the first year, it looks like, but then after that it'd be about $1,000 a year to maintain it. Right now we pay about $700, $750 a year to maintain the software. It would be cloud-based and a little more intuitive from what I've heard. But what I thought we'd do is just introduce it briefly. We have somebody in the audience to talk about it, the product itself, for any questions. And then later on we'll vote. We have a resolution drafted up. What we're trying to do is package our position, and I know I've talked to each of you individually, and we would join about 15 other munis and put together our name on this list of the applicants for the grant. And it's our thinking is to make it a stronger application, and it has a couple of wins for us. We needed an update anyway. It's a locally owned company, and the county, if this is successful, would buy the program, and we would have some interchangeability. I think would give us, when things change in parcel access at the county level, we would see it a little more quickly here and so forth because of the updated versions of it. But maybe, Will, if you just want to talk about what you know about it, Will Labassiere, identify yourself, and you want to stand by a lectern, would be good.
Do I need to use the microphone?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'm Will Labassiere from Software Consulting Associates. We're a local company over in the chocolate factory. We've been doing municipal software for 30 years now. It's our 30th anniversary. I haven't been with the company for 30 years. Jay Greenblatt, Doug Crane started the company quite a while back, and I bought it from them about 2 years ago. So what we're talking about is the county is going to front, in your guys' case, it would probably be between $5,000 and $7,000 to purchase the upgraded software for you guys. And then get you the new version of it, get you GIS applications with it, like mapping type capabilities. Some other cool features, we've got stuff in there now for contractors that if they give you a cell number or an email, that they can get notified after an inspection, so they can get a text message or an email message after an inspection's been done with the inspection results. We've got the ability for the inspectors to use mobile devices, tablets, smartphones in the field and do their inspections right from their phone or a tablet. So a lot of pretty cool technology. As of this morning, we had, I think, 8 municipalities on board. Wappinger Falls just sent in their resolution this morning. So, and I know, I think Fishkill, we've got a couple others that are still to be coming in. So there'll be at least probably 9 or 10. We're hoping to get 15. The grant's due by the end of the month. So, and all we need from each municipality is a resolution or a letter from mayor or supervisor saying, with your intent. The cost, as Ed said, was be about $1,000 a year after the first year. So you guys would be, the county can't fund the ongoing expenses, but the county will pay the initial upfront for the upgrade. We'll probably also be able to get a tablet or smartphone in there if that's a need for Sam or anyone else to have a tablet or smartphone. We can slide that in as well. Let's see, I'm not sure if there's any other questions.
Well, I guess if I could jump in.
Yeah, please.
As I mentioned, Town of Hyde Park offered to lead the program, and I came across it at a meeting I attended for the Association of Mayors and Supervisors, and it's all the elected chief executives, and they did a presentation there, the county level folks, and the town supervisor there offered to spearhead it. Essentially, we just have to agree we want to do it, and then somebody else will actually file the grant application and so forth. And I think it's kind of a win-win for us.
Hyde Park's putting the whole grant application together, and then it'll be submitted. The deadline for submission is the end of the month. The awards are supposed to be in September, and then have about a year. I think they give you 18 months to implement everything, but we expect to go quite a bit faster than 18 months.
Have the details been worked out as far as the contractual agreements with the municipalities, such as is there going to be a contract and the length of the contract?
There's no required contract with us as far as, you guys are already under contract with us for the existing software, and that contract is, it just renews each year. If you pay the annual support, it continues to be functional software for you. It can be terminated at any time by the village, I think, given 30 days notice to us.
And within the length of the contract that we have with you, as far as increasing rates or decreasing rates on an annual basis, do you notice any trending? Or?
We haven't increased the maintenance for you guys. I have to look it up, but I know it's been at least 5 years.
So it's pretty much remained about more.
It's remained at like 7 or 750 for at least 5 years. I can't guarantee that the maintenance won't go up. There are some other features in the software that you guys might want to take advantage of, which you can come back and I would do a presentation on particular features. One of them being a public website for the public to pull up information about building permits and stuff like that, and even being able to file permits online or file applications for permits online and pay for them online. Some features like that, which could bump your annual support by a few $100s if you took some of those features later on. But that would be a separate thing. You need to kind of start with the basic software, which the county's offering to pay for all of that.
So do you see an annual contract then, or is that too early to?
Yeah, and we don't normally do annual contracts. It's usually it's just a year to year. Yeah, it's just a year to year. If you guys like the product and like the support you're getting, you just pay each year and it continues along. So we haven't traditionally entered into any 3-year contracts or 5-year contracts or anything like that. It's usually just a year to year, and it becomes pretty indispensable for the building department. Because all of your data will be in there. You'll have all your permits and your violations and your fees and inspections and all of that will be in there. You could take that data and and move it to another software package, that there's a, a cost, not our cost, but a cost to the village to move it to something else. That's one of the nice things the county is kind of offering in this, is that they would become what we're calling a backstop for the database backups and everything. So if there ever was an issue with us, if we went out of business or something, the county would still maintain all that data and could even continue to run the software if needed, giving municipalities some time to transition over to something else.
What is the difficulty in the migration of the data that we have now in our existing software to this? How complex is that process?
We have a program that does it. It takes about 2 to 3 days of someone working with the data to really, even with a kind of an automated program, it still is quite a bit of work. It's in an older database structure that is just a little bit difficult to work with. So, but it's that's something we will convert all of your data over. So all of your permits, your existing permits, violations, fees, inspections, whatever data is in there will come into the new system. So on day one with the new system, you started up, pull up a parcel, you'll see all the historical permits and everything that are there.
Do the maintenance fees include any upgrades
Yeah, it includes all the upgrades. Yeah.
and patches?
Yep, and this is it's a web-based system. So it's something you go to a website and sign in and use it. So if there's any upgrades or anything like that, you just get them automatically as we make improvements to the software. And there's a lot of things we're working on, even expanding beyond the building department, planning, zoning. We're going to have clerk software in there at some point, which would be another option you could take advantage of if you wanted to, and that would add a little bit to your annual support. But, and then eventually we'll actually have assessment in there as well. So I'm not sure. Do you guys
We use a town
use the
assessment,
town?
yeah.
So it's not. So assessment isn't an issue for the village.
What map program do you use?
What map?
Right.
It's let's see. I don't want to get too technical. It's something called GeoServer, which is it's an open source geographic information system, kind of an open source competitor to something called Esri. Which if you're familiar with Esri, ESRI, it's kind of the industry leader in the mapping community. So it's an open source product. It's what New York City uses, and we kind of jumped on the bandwagon with them. It's much lower price than the ESRI product, so we're able to offer the GIS for a much lower price than if we were hosting on an ESRI solution. And and then we bring in layers of data from all sorts of places, from the county. If you guys have any layers, like of your zones, if you have sewer. Not that we have sewer. Sorry. Water. Right.
Source subject.
Yeah. It's always stuff to know. So water, if you've actually mapped your water, storm drains, any other things, if you've made them as a geographic layer, you can display them within the GIS system. And then we also bring in state layers for wetlands and whatever other state stuff there is. We bring in Google and Bing layers. We bring in Street View stuff. So it's a pretty comprehensive GIS system.
The OPRHP stuff come in there too?
What's
The
that?
historic preservation, they have like web-based mapping, like the DEC has their wetlands and things like that.
If it's a layer that is it available on the county or anything, or is it
It's New York State.
state?
Yeah, just a curiosity.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it. I know
Okay.
we've been asked to bring in all sorts of historical layers. Westchester, down in Westchester right now, Greenberg, Scarsdale, White Plains, a bunch of places down there are using our GIS system, and they've brought in a bunch of historical maps. They've got back to 1947 aerial photography, and it's kind of cool because you can take the aerials and they have 47 and then 64 and then 70 and then so on, and you can take them and you can kind of fade them in and out, and you can see the change of of a particular parcel over time, what was built and what it looked like 50, 60 years ago.
All right. Everybody good? Just to give a little background explanation, so we'd have Will come in and then we can talk about that in regular business. You good, Will? Thanks for coming in. Maybe we'll do a segue. We have County Legislator Ben Trout, who's also a Red Hook Village resident here. He wanted to come and give us an update on what he's been doing these days. Feel free to take... Yeah, it's good. You get our little logo behind you that way.
Oh, that's cool. I'll take a little over here for you, but I appreciate it, Mayor. And actually, I'm here at a specific request from Steve. I appreciate you inviting me here, asking me to come. He sent me an email saying, do you ever make the rounds to the village and town meetings to give updates on what you're doing down at the county? And I do like to do that. I do appear in front of the Red Hook Town Board and have in front of the Village Tivoli Board. And I'm grateful that I have an opportunity to appear in front of you. Unfortunately, about 95% of the time, your meetings fall on the same night as my meetings, which is why I can't get up here all that often. But I'm glad to be here. Maybe just I'll touch on a couple of things. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but touch on a couple of things we've done and what's on the burner for the next month or two here at the county. And if there's any more specific questions and how it relates to Red Hook or anything that you guys have on your minds, I'm more than welcome to that. I'd say one of the most important things that's taken up a lot of my time this year is because I'm the chairman of the Environmental Committee. So in my committee, we've had a lot of time working on the solid waste management plan. The Rethinking Waste is the title, which is basically it's a once every 10-year plan that we need to author and send to the DEC for their approval on how we're going to essentially manage our solid waste. I gave a pretty in-depth presentation, I think twice on this at the on town board meeting where we had some question and answer, and that was really productive both before we passed it and after we passed it. And basically what it is one of the main components of it is we're looking to increase our recycling rate, which currently stands at a pretty low 23%. Over the next 10 years, we're looking to get that up to 60% with the help of our new solid waste department that we've just filled the positions in over the last year. We have Lindsay Carrill and her staff who are doing a great job trying to work on education, trying to work on a very professional approach to everything as far as recycling and solid waste goes. They're a great asset that we didn't have at our disposal before, and we're proud to have a plan this year because the county government had failed to produce a plan in 2002, so we were still operating under the 1992 plan, which was, needless to say, somewhat out of date and needed some updating. A couple of good suggestions we got out of the public hearings we had that we added into the plan. We had a couple of amendments on the night that we adopted it. One was putting in the requirement that we would get a report from the administration at the legislative level every year on our progress, what's going on, what we can do better. And also we offered an amendment to get rid of some of the language that made it seem easier for us to establish new ash landfills, which we certainly don't want to see anymore popping up. So those are two of the major adjustments from when it was released to us from the administration. We're grateful for them with all the help and all the work. This administration's been has been incredible with us as opposed to previous administration, and so we're very happy with where we are there, and we keep in mind that it is still just a working document, a plan for how we're going to move forward. So anybody with ideas, concerns, or anything that we can possibly incorporate is more than welcome as well. Another thing that's going on right now is a consideration of where our next step is going to be with the county jail situation. We have a facility currently that's overcrowded, and we have many of our prisoners in other counties' facilities. Right now, we just got a report that was given to us in a committee of the whole, telling us, basically assessing the needs and assessing what is going on over there by Rishi Green, who was working with the administration, and that was funded from a grant that former State Senator Steve Salan got us, so we're very grateful to him for that, so we can get that study going. We're now at the phase where we're looking to get feasibility done on 2 different sites for possible locations for one is either the existing jail facility site or one is a new site. And we're looking forward to seeing what's most cost effective and what's also most workable for everybody involved. So that's going to be a major issue for the rest of this year. I believe we're going to get the report sometime in November or December should we move forward at this juncture, which I believe we will. A couple more local things that touch Red Hook is I know that the county executive has just told us that, and in June we will be considering his contract. He's reached a contract with the cities of Beacon and Poughkeepsie that will establish a new sales tax distribution model. I know the municipalities took a little bit of a hit in the last year as far as the $25 million cap, but at this point that money is guaranteed. Should we approve the contract, which I believe we will. And one of the good things about it for us is a more, I don't want to say rural, but a town, a smaller municipality than the cities, is the growth that we're anticipating in coming years will benefit us, at a better percentage than it had in the past under the contract that we were operating on, which had expired some time ago. So those are a few things that we're doing as a result of that too. I know you guys are well aware we have a $2 million fund to help municipalities with consolidation and shared service projects, and we've gotten over 50 applications so far, a lot of great ideas rolling in, and that is an annual thing. We have a new $2 million every year for these kind of projects, so we encourage you as a village to certainly submit your ideas for that. There's funds available for cost-saving ideas just to get them going, and here where we have 2 villages in a town, it might be a nice, really ideal spot for these kind of projects to come forward. So those are a few of the things that are on our mind, including we have the Dutchess Community College budget coming up in July. The public hearing will be on that. We haven't received the budget from the Board of Trustees, but we're anxiously waiting. Those are a few of the things that we're going to be addressing in the near term. And if there's anything else on anyone's mind, I'd be more than happy to talk about it.
I'll jump in first. I know you just mentioned 23% recycling rate, and you'd be proud to know Red Hook, we do about 7 tons over 12 tons, meaning 7 tons of recycling a month over 12 tons of household waste, so we're over 50%. So it's we're outperforming the county, and we like to say because of our tag system, we have I know you don't specifically pick up waste, but you're taking it from the private haulers, but maybe anecdotally one could argue that our system is driving a little more recycling. Anyway, then on the prison numbers, I know I've heard them, but what do you currently house in Poughkeepsie now? Do you know those numbers off the top of your head?
I do. It's about 250, but our general population has done nothing but go up over the years, and it's a daily number. It changes, fluctuates, but roughly we're approaching 500 now that we should have. So it's gotten. When I first got there, it wasn't nearly that high. I mean, it was still high, but it wasn't quite that high, and so that we're on a pace, if we don't address it, to house more people out than we house in. So that's certainly a concern, because that costs us money that we never see again, because we send it to other counties, and we'd rather. Not only would we rather keep it here, it would be less expensive for us to do it here in Dutchess County. And if we show the state, because the state gives us a waiver to send prisoners to other counties, we really can't do that generally. They give us a waiver that they can revoke at any time, which would land us in a tough spot. But if we take the next step and authorize the study of feasibility, that would show good faith, if you will, to the state to start allowing us to even be bringing them back in temporary housing, which over the course of the next year should save us $2 million in housing out costs. So we're definitely hopeful for the progress on that.
Would you task your study group to also look at alternatives to
absolutely.
sell?
Actually, you'd be surprised that Dutchess County does pretty well with alternatives to incarceration. I believe between alternatives, and probation and such, ways that we keep people agile. We have even more than we have housed in, or housed out this way in other facilities on programs such as that. And we're always looking to strengthen those, of course, because that keeps people out of our jail, which is it's very costly. But if we do get a new facility, which I don't want to jump ahead of myself, because we don't want to rush to a conclusion. We're going to take a look at what comes back as the most feasible, the most cost-effective option out there. But if in the improvements that we do make down the road, we'd like to turn it more into even a transitional facility where we can offer the kind of help that people need and more alternatives. But the issue is really, truthfully, if we have prisoners housed out as far as Warren County, as far as Essex County, and if they're not in our care, we can't offer alternatives. They're now in somebody else's care. So, that's the first step, is getting them home, and then they can take advantage of some of the great programs that we're working on here.
What's the annual outlay for housing prisoners outside?
You mean the cost of it?
The cost of it.
Well, again, fluctuates by year, but it's only been growing. When we budgeted it for it the first or second year I was there, the sheriff had to come back and ask for more, because the prison population was in fact growing, but it's at a pace now where it could reach about $8 million annually, which is an incredible number. If you think about in the scope of our budget, every $1 million is about a percentage on the tax bill. So if we could eradicate the need to send $8 million to other counties, we'll be in better shape. I mean, even any kind of payment on any kind of bond payment that we can endure on either a new facility, if that comes back, is the most cost effective, or on improving the existing facility to accommodate what we need to house, would be minor, would be less than the amount we're sending to other counties now, which is my point. Once we send that money out, it's out of our community, and so are our prisoners. So that's a huge consideration. Is cost. The cost is doing nothing but going up, and if we don't address this issue, years down the road, a decade from now, I wouldn't be surprised to tell you it could double. So, I mean, that's something we need to keep an eye on. Absolutely.
Anybody else? All right, thanks, Ben. We put you on early so you could leave if you so choose. It's up to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll switch to regular business. Here it is, June 3rd, which means we are in our new fiscal year. Villages start June 1 for those watching. And with Cindy, if you want to do the treasurer's report, please.
Balances as of May 31st. General fund, $6,207.70. Water fund, $57,263.10. Trust and agency, $16,621.64. Resource recovery, $2,723.45. Petty cash, $40.78. Village green, $2,483.16. Hard scrabble, $2,420.57. Health insurance fund, $740.30. Capital projects, $356.64. And monthly expenses, general fund, $124,101.62. Water fund, $41,004.04. Trust and agency, $16,621.64. And resource recovery, $2,780.18.
Okay, and just to clarify, those numbers she just read, even though today is June 3rd, that's as of the close of business May 31st, so end of the fiscal year.
Ends.
So I went through the attached sheets that gives us line-by-line breakdown. It's rather interesting. We actually generated a little more revenue than we projected. Some of it was due to performance and planning and zoning. There was a little more action in the real estate world than we predicted a year ago, which is a good thing. Red Oak seems to be generating some sales and also remodeling and so forth that causes us to generate some fees. Other areas, just looking across it, and if you look at, I don't know what you have available in front of you there if you want to go to the page I'm looking at, but we pulled in a bit more, like I said, in revenue. On the expense side, what I was looking at is our big ticket items, so to speak, which would be PD, highway, those realms, and PD came in at about $5,000 under budget, which is great. And then the highway did well across the board. They've got multiple lines. Their expenses are more located in materials and snow removal, and whereas PD's a lot of labor. Highway did well. Actually, across the board, things are looking pretty good. What we need to do, there's still some May bills that will arrive in the early weeks of June, so we'll have to make some final adjustments on that. What Cindy gave you is her report on the first page is a cash flow basis, whereas computer runs are an accrual basis, and so what we'll do is tune them up. And like you all know, we pick a new audit firm. Each year a village has to provide the state with an audit, and we picked a firm this year, Sedor & Company, out of the Poughkeepsie area. Mm-hmm. And they've come in for a basic early review of what we have, and then we generate, the Treasurer's Office generates paperwork to them, and they'll be working. So it should be interesting to go through that. Is there a motion to accept the Treasurer's report? Is there a second?
Second.
Any other thoughts or discussion?
The only thing is, should we change resource recovery to materials management now?
Sure. We'll change resource recovery to materials management. That's okay with everybody? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Let's see. Looks like I have to give the police report here. For the month of May, looks like we had a total of 195 incidents, and that breaks down as 131 in the village of Red Hook. And I can't read that number there. Can anybody?
Where?
Looks like a
60.
looks like 600, but it's really 60. Okay, I see it's a odd-looking 6.
I see where you did
60
that.
in the town of Red Hook, and 4 in the village of Tivoli. As far as traffic tickets, a total of 117, which breaks down 79 in the village of Red Hook, and 38 in the town of Red Hook. What we're working on, you can see a subdivision there of parking tickets. We do have a 2-hour parking limit on the main four corner section of the village, and they've been enforcing that just to keep long-term parkers from taking a place that could be used by just people trying to use our businesses and our stores. So they've been working on that a bit. Arrests, we show 15, 9 in the village and 6 in the town. And anybody have any questions on what we're seeing there? All right, that's the police report. Looks like, Steve, you ready to do some water?
Sure. The average water consumption for the month of May was 239,100 gallons, for a total of 7,413,000. In May of 2012, the average water consumption was 255,839. Total chloroform bacteria samples were taken and tested in the laboratory. Both the results were negative for bacteria. 65 gallons of hydrochloric were used. No deliveries were taken this month. Work continues on the well field and water plant building. The 150 kilowatt standby generator is operational. And that's water.
Good. Yeah, that last sentence is really great news, because since Storm Irene hit, almost 2 years ago now, we went through Lee and Sandy after that, and we started a practice of renting generators just because it seemed like these storms were knocking power out and for long-term situations. So now, with this grant and the funding, we've got our own permanently installed high-tech generator. It comes on automatically when there's no power, and so we can feel a little more comfortable when the next storm rolls in. And I know later in the week, 2 days from today, we meet again with the USDA folks. They come and do a monthly review of the project, and they sit with us and they walk to inspect whatever they feel like they want to see. In line with that, there's another sequence of capital account bills for you folks to review. One is from Trinity Construction. They're doing the general contractor work over at the well fields. This is another phase of their work. I think they're pretty much done. What I would ask is look through it. Our engineer has already looked through it, reviewed it, approved it, and we still need to do it internally. So this
How
is
much is it for?
This one is for $52,483.70. And I've gone through it, but it's 6 copies here, the old infamous 6. And then I'll pass another packet to their end. This is for the meter installation company, National Metering. This is another phase of their work. This is for $83,371.28. As of last week, I think they had about 600 meters installed, and they're still here working. It should be done relatively quickly. Our next billing sequence will be interesting because we'll be working off, when they pull a meter, we have the old analog read, and then we're going to use the radio read, and our in-house staff will have to do a little combination math. So, but the extra time we'll be able to cover through the admin allowances in the grant too. So it's
The new bills will come out in gallons.
pardon?
The new bills will come out in gallons as opposed to cubic feet.
Yeah, Brent was saying the new bills. It depends which way we convert it. I think, Brent, we would convert it to cubic feet because our current code still, so we'll take the gallon back to cubic feet for this billing sequence. Then we'll run that model to the next 90-day billing period will be all gallons. And we'll have to change our code in that intervening time just to convert our cubic foot rate to a gallon rate. We won't necessarily be changing the rate, we'll just be doing the math to convert it. And in that same time frame, we'll be seeing what our new source meters tell us and what our end-use meters are telling us to help us see what our rate is, or if we have to change anything. But I'll pass this one again. This is 6 copies if you want to go that way. And let's see, Steve, we had you for water. I know Steve also works with facilities, and we did sign the Time Warner cable conversion documentation. We're moving our communications from Frontier to Time Warner, and it worked out to be a multiple hundreds of dollars savings a month. We're thinking $500 or $600 a month, somewhere in that range. I signed a bunch of paperwork on that just recently, so that'd be nice. And then, let's see, Mr. Trustee Trapp, are you ready to work?
Oh, sure. Well, let's see here. Month of May 2013, things are picking up in the building department here. Collected this past month was $6,481. A couple of big ticket items and a lot of small permits. Sam's been pretty busy. He issued 12 building permits, issued 2 certificates of occupancy, 11 certificates of compliance, conducted 3 municipal searches, 4 fire inspections, and overall 22 individual inspections. So he's been running around out there pretty well. The planning board past month had a meeting May 9th, 2013, and granted two sign approvals, and those EBA meetings past month. The zoning revisions committee is working away. We missed a meeting, but we're working away. George out there, he's probably got the biggest bite out of the whole thing. He's got the complicated job. But we're working forward. We're in progress of redoing applications, and signed ordinance is done. Just overall, in general, Cindy, I want to thank you for getting me the digital copy of the code. That makes it a lot simpler. I've been going through and just picking up small items and discrepancies in the code and going through it, and in addition to the overall. And let's see, we've been, Ed and I talk, almost every morning. I'm on summer hours now, so I've decided not to call you at 6:15.
Oh, good. Thank you very much.
I usually call him at 7:15, so
Right.
I think that's early enough as it is. But we usually keep our eyes open around the village and find odds and ends that are out of spec and out of compliance with the building code, or somebody just decides to build something, do something, and so we write a complaint form, which any of you guys can do as well. You can get it from the clerk, you can get it from Sam, and fill out a complaint, and we'll track it down for you. And Ed,
Yes,
that's it.
it is.
That's it, man.
All right.
All done.
Good. Let's see. You sure that's it? I guess that seems like short for you, Jay. That's,
Summertime.
okay.
Brevity is my name tonight.
All right. Let's see. Before I introduce Jay, and I know normally we get our report from Ulster County Resource Recovery. I didn't see one across my desk. I don't know. Usually end of the month it routinely shows up, and I forward it to you. So we don't have our tonnage, but you can
There's going to
do
be some
it.
disappointed people out there not knowing our tonnage of
Right.
Western recycling.
But you'll know our sales, right? And
Yes.
so why don't you go ahead?
Okay. So again, we do not know the figures for single-stream recycling and tons of garbage this month, nor do we know what we paid out, but we did collect $2,591 in garbage tax sales.
How much?
$2,591.
Yeah.
The library, I did not receive a report from the library for their main numbers, so I can't report on that. Past events, Apple Blossom Day. It was a fun day. The weather was a little iffy, but it went off. It was good. The Tour de Red Hook, unfortunately, had to be completely canceled because of the rain. A couple saved the dates outgoing. We're hoping to show the movie Back to the Future in the Village on Friday, July 19th. We're working on securing a location, but we're really hoping this year to have it be in the Village instead of at the park as we had done last year. Our second annual, we can say that, potluck and concert in the park will be Saturday, August 3rd, excuse me, at Abrams Park with local bluegrass band Grass-Fed. They did it for us last year. It was actually just really fun and really casual, and great concert on the lawn. So bring a blanket and a dish to share. Obviously, for both of those events, I'll have more information at next month's meeting. Hardscrabble Day, we're working hard on it. It's going to be Saturday, September 21st. This event is put on with very little directly coming from our budget. Most of the money is come from sponsors, local businesses, and that sort of thing. This year we're attempting to do crowdfunding. So if you'd like to contribute to us, you can do it one of two ways. You can go to Indiegogo.com and search for Hardscrabble Day 2013, or we accept checks direct. You can just drop them off at the village clerk's office, made out to the Hardscrabble Community Association. If you look at it as like you would spend $20 to go to a concert, we're going to have a great concert. We don't know who it's going to be yet, but we'll take anything. No donation is too small, so that's ongoing as well. Two other things. The farmers market has started. It will be every Saturday in the parking lot here. It'll be from 10 to 2 now through October. And then just a little shout out. The town of Red Hook does their summer programs, and these are amazing. And if you have children, it's amazing what is offered free of charge. Softball, basketball, lacrosse, a morning camp. It's fascinating and such a great thing. And my daughter goes through it and marks off everything that she wants to do. Sign-ups will be, there was last Saturday, but also this Saturday at the Red Hook Town Hall. And they're free, and it's an amazing resource that we have. So absolutely take advantage of that. And that's all I have.
Back on the crowdfunding for Hardscrabble Day. So what does one do if this panda show goes viral somehow? What does one do? Google Hardscrabble Day or Village of Red Hook?
No, well, you would go to Indiegogo.com, which is INDIEGOGO.com, and then under the search, you would type in Hardscrabble Day 2013, and it would come that way. But the other thing, but if we go through Indiegogo, they take a small percentage of it. So if they do want to contribute, direct contributions are even a better way to go. If we're going viral to people in LA, as you seem to think we're going to go viral.
We are. I know we are.
It's going to be huge. Then they can go through Indiegogo, but people who are local can drop off checks here.
I think Jay down there has 10,000 followers.
Yep,
Brent has about 8, and Cindy we don't know, but so it'll go out. Put it out there.
Right. Yes. I mean, yeah. Even if you don't contribute, just keep sharing. I'll post. I'll put it back on my Facebook tonight. Just take it and run with it. And
We
spread
already know.
it around.
We already have some.
We made $50 already. Two lovely people.
I'll put it in the next newsletter.
There you go. So yeah. So again, we're trying to find different ways to make this possible without, tapping into the same local sponsors as we do
Right.
every year. So.
Well, thank you. What's funny is today is June 3rd, like we said, and oftentimes these early in the month Mondays, it affects some of these reports we get from outside sources because something we'll talk about later. Next Monday's meeting is July 1st. I'd like you to consider maybe backing it off a week just so we get certain reports in. And
It's also my birthday.
Which
July
one?
July 1st.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't
How
come.
old are you going?
Now,
I'm going to
Steve.
be a number starting with a 0 and an 830 and an 850, so you can figure that one out. The math.
But anyway, I'm toying with, because even on the 3rd, some of these reports aren't done. You figure whoever gives us a report from end of May hasn't got it in today, so we'll think about that a little bit later. Let's see. Looks like we have next Mr. Deputy Mayor Kowalczyk with his sundry reports.
Let's start with the Village Green Committee report. The Village Green Committee-related budget accounts, community beautification, are $1,371.98. Shade Tree contractual will still negative $6,250.78. We're still awaiting a governor's item grant. We've been checking with Department of State, our senator and assemblyman to recoup this grant for $10,000, which would put us back up. The Village Green checking account, $2,482.16. Village Green Committee was held on May 21st. The Red Hook Village Building. We reviewed the Village Green Committee's related budget accounts. We also reviewed comments, all positive so far, regarding the installation of benches throughout the village. And we also had the privilege of hosting Trustees Steve Zarchek, who brought in a proposal for us to consider regarding the planting of tulip bulbs in several areas in the village of Red Hook, and which we discussed, and we chose the north planting bed of the village parking lot. The initial work will be to remove the existing fabric and gravel that's currently there and prepare the soil to receive the bulbs. We're hoping to seek donations from local suppliers to provide the bulbs, and we'll mix low shrubs, flowering bushes, and small trees with the tulips. And we'll start small with an initial area of about 25 feet.
Do you have a timeline on that?
Well, I've already instructed Dan and asked him, to consider put it on the schedule. So this will be done before harvest gravel. At least the soil prep and stuff. The fall would be a good time to plant. So we'll take it as it comes and then remain flexible with our schedule. The committee also requests from the village that we hang up the Tree City USA Awards and the other acknowledgments that we've won over the years in the Prince Street lobby of the building. Which we've been looking at it for a while, but we want to get those back up. And we discussed possible planting sites for the fall planting day. So far, we're including the Red Hook Village parking lot. We lost a couple of trees there, which we want to replant. Some sites on Prince Street and Fraley Street. And we discussed possible planting projects for Richard Abrams Park, including wildflowers in the meadow, trees in additional and varied locations. We have quite a bit of trees on the front end of it, and we want to spread those out a little bit. And just a reminder, the 21st Annual New York State Relief Conference is scheduled for July 18th to the 20th to be held at SUNY Institute of Technology, and the Village Green Committee is considering updating the Village Green Committee's website. So we hope to get those done. The Village of Red Hook Highway Department. The Village Highway Department is currently conducting this lawn debris and brush pickup program. This program is continuing to the fall brush pickup. And the residents are reminded to place lawn debris and brush curbside on the first and third Monday of every month for removal by the Village Highway Department. And they're asking please to restrict the size of the brush piles to 6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet, and any trim limbs 8 inches or less in diameter. Please do not include tree trunks or debris from private property tree removal, is that we cannot chip those or burn them, they're too big. And these will be the responsibility of the property owner. Street catch basins and culverts on our annual rotation schedule right now, and we've cleaned our first selection of them, partially cleaned, on East Market Street during the week of May 20th. And this took quite a bit of time because of the damage that was done during Irene and Tropical Storm Lee. So reimbursements that we did receive from FEMA in the amount of $1,722.60 that are specifically earmarked for these catch basins, 3 of them, I believe, on East Market Street, will go to offset some of the costs of this. Other catch basins scheduled to be cleaned this year are on Old Post Road, Park Avenue, Church Street Extension, Mall Drive, Cherry Street, Grave Street, Power Street, and we've finished East Market Street. The Tri-State Traffic Data Incorporated, on behalf of the Poughkeepsie Dutchess County Transportation Council, issued a plan put out this for the week 21, which is 5/2013. The traffic counts on Baxter Road from Fifth Street to East Market Street. And no scrap metal was sold during the month of May. Total revenue generated to date for fiscal year 2012-13, which is our final number, is $2,280.47. We've reached our goal of $2,000 for this fiscal year. Since inception of the scrap metal program in September of 2007, $14,139.86 has been generated. Proceeds from this program go toward purchasing tools and equipment for the Red Hook Highway Department. And residences or businesses interested in donating scrap metal can contact Dan at the garage, 758-8600, or the village clerk at 758-1081. And we will also assist property owners by picking up scrap metal on the press. It's been a very Red Hook Infrastructure Intermunicipal Task Force. Harry Pryor Gross presented her master's thesis entitled Water Quality in the Village of Red Hook, New York, Evaluation of Possible Contamination from Septic Systems at the Bard College Olin Language Center on May 24th. The study investigated water quality of various surface bodies in and around the village. The study's results determined, based on limited testing methods, procedures, and duration, that minimum contamination was found. The study also establishes a strategy and procedures for future testing to be conducted over a longer period of time. These procedures occur at different times and seasons of the year, may produce a more thorough analysis of the effect on ground and surface water quality caused by failing or inadequately sized, maintain septic systems and surface conditioned runoffs. And we're considering bringing Ari in on July 8th to do a presentation for us. It's relatively quick, but it was both Jonathan Sharon from the authority, the County Water Wastewater Authority, and I attended that, and it was very interesting, just the debate amongst the professors. She did a very thorough and very good job, so we'll get copies to the trustees as well before that meeting. The Red Hook Water Project, the meeting was held on May 7th at the Red Hook Village Building to review the progress, sign and submit the reimbursement requests, and review the status of the work to be completed for the Red Hook Village Wellfield Improvement Project and Water Meter Installation Project. The site inspection of the Wellfield Improvement Project was conducted on May 16th. The electrical hookups to the new control panels were installed and connected, and representatives from Central Hudson, Wayland Electric, which is our electrical contractor, CT Mail, and myself attended. The new generator, as Ed's mentioned in his, or actually Steve mentioned in his report, that the Wellfield Improvement Project was connected and tested. Operating emergency procedures were reviewed with our highway department. Representatives from Peak Performance, CT Mail, highway department, myself attended. We do have over 600 meters of radio read meter heads that have been installed, and they're averaging now about 10 per day, so it's slowing down a little bit. And this is probably the hardest part to get the last couple to go on board with this. The Community Development Block Grant, the 2013 Community Development Block Grant Program Municipal Orientation was held on May 23rd at the offices of Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development. This was it was highly suggested that those municipalities that received grants attend this meeting. We did receive the highest amount of any other municipality in Dutchess County for our project, which would be to rehabilitate wells 5 and 6 and put a package treatment plant on site. And some of the things that we reviewed were the program timetable, the funding allocations, the environmental review process, which we're currently through. We had to go through NEPA, which is the National Environmental Protection Act. It's the national equivalent to SECR. So we're all done with the environmental reports on that. Final allocation form, insurance requirements, project implementation, and municipal request for payment. So some of you have copies of what was sent and the paperwork. The Red Hook Village zoning amendments, meeting was held on May 13th to discuss possible amendments to the Red Hook Village zoning law for special permits and site plan approval provisions for a business that's considering coming in the village. The Red Hook Village Pattern Book and Architectural Guides, the legal review and revisions were suggested by George Rodenhausen and Rapport Myers on May 16th. Revisions were made, approved, and incorporated into the pattern book by Stephen Hilly. The final version of the Red Hook Pattern Book and Architectural Design Guidelines was issued on May 22nd, and amendments to the Village of Red Hook Comprehensive Plan have been recommended both by George Rodenhausen and John Clark of the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development. For the Red Hook Village Board of Trustees consideration, a proposal was requested for the village and received from Rappaport Myers to perform the following procedures. One was to prepare a comprehensive plan amendments, prepare notices of public hearings for the official newspaper, seek referrals from Dutchess County Department of Planning and Red Hook Village Planning Board, prepare a resolution for a secret determination, and attend public hearings. Upon adoption by the Village Board of Trustees, the pattern book and architectural design guidelines may serve as a component of the village's comprehensive plan, expressing the vision, goal, and recommended architectural vocabulary for future development in the village. As such, it may serve as the basis for future amendments of the village's zoning law. And funding for the preparation, printing, legal review of this pattern book project have been provided by grant awards from the New York State Council of the Arts, Hudson River Valley Greenway, and furthermore. On the task force side, the task force met on May 3rd, 10th, 17th, 24th, and 31st at the Red Hook Town Hall. We meet every Friday. This is, well, we're off to our 9th year of meeting like this. The task force reviewed final draft language of the Red Hook Town zoning law, proposed amendments to section 1 through 4. The proposal will add a new section entitled Historic Structures, protect designated historic structures in the town, will modify allowable uses in the B1 district, limited development district, rural development, 5-acre district, hamlet, and light industrial zoning districts. It will increase the required minimum lot area in the limited development and institutional districts, and will increase the minimum open space requirements for conservation subdivision in the water conservation, limited development, and rural development 5 and institutional districts, and shall make minor adjustments to the dimensional requirements in the residential and commercial central sub-districts of the traditional neighborhood development districts. The task force is currently reviewing draft zoning amendments to section 143-48 of the town zoning law for development within the scenic corridor overlay district. So we've been busy on that. And just some committee reports. And the things I sit on with the town that do affect what we're doing in the village. The Red Hook Town Economic Development Committee, both Ed and I are acting liaisons to that committee. We're not actually members, but they are doing a lot of work here in the village, and we're happy that they're involving us as well. EDC meetings were held on May 9th and 23rd at the Red Hook Village building. We discussed and reviewed the survey of Red Hook businesses. Over 80 responses have been received. Some of the major outcomes were restaurants and hospitality businesses ranked the highest perceived need for types of businesses desirable for the village. Parking adjacent to businesses being patronized was considered the biggest problem to be addressed. One of the remedies for this that we discussed was have business owners park in more remote locations to allow for patron parking closer to the individual retail establishments. We're considering for preparation of a business calendar, such as highlighting events like Bard College Parents' Day, graduation, community events such as Hard Scrabble Day, to alert business owners of anticipated higher volume patronage. We're preparing business tips of value-oriented and best business practices to keep existing and attract new patrons. And they're on their way to starting a new monthly column in the Observer to be written by EDC members. And this column will include topics such as internet sales, use of social media, celebrating the seasons, raising visibility, storefront window appeal, and a host of other things. Social media and public relations. The EDC is currently working with Dutchess County Tourism to plan and strategize for long-term public relations initiatives. We also talked about the Red Hook Can Sculpture Expo. We reviewed the Red Hook Village permitting procedure and selecting sites for sculpture throughout the village. The opening reception for this event is scheduled for June 15th, and with the reception being held between 5:30 and 7 o'clock p.m. at the Almanac Inn. And we also had a presentation from Inga McCabe from Camp Ramapo, and regarding the Staff Assistance Experience Program. This program's objective is to transition 18 to 25-year-olds to independent living. The Community Preservation Fund Homeland Preservation Advisory Committee, there were no monthly meetings, no meetings for the Redwood Town Zoning Review Committee. We did have a Shared Services Committee. Both Ed and I are representatives and members of this committee on May 7th. We discussed bike trails that are currently being considered for Route 199 from Redwood High School West to Meadow Drive, and on Linden Avenue from Cookingham Bridge near the Rec Park to Rockefeller Lane. And we looked at different considerations, including federal aid availability, right-of-ways on Dutchess County and New York State DOT roads, conversions from pedestrian to multi-use, which means pedestrian and bicycle pathways, future connections to Bard College, and phasing to take advantage of limited funding options. So we're still reviewing those. We had representatives from the New York State DOT, Poughkeepsie Dutchess County Transportation Council, Redwood Town, Redwood Village, and Bard College. Materials Management Committee, no meetings held this month. The Redwood Green Business Challenge and Climate Smart Growth Communities Committee, there were no meetings held this month. However, the final Climate Smart Communities, creating the Green Business Certification Program for Redwood, was issued on May 10th. The Green Business Certification Program recognizes businesses that address environmental, economic, and social performance in their operations. Businesses participating in the Green Business Certification Program are taking action to improve energy efficiency, reduce their waste, and conserve water. Was also put on another committee, Redwood Library Children's Learning Garden Committee. Children's Learning Garden Committee meeting was held on the 17th, and the garden site is located behind the Redwood Library in the southeast area, behind the retaining walls on the back side of the parking lot. The garden will provide a space for children's educational, environmental programs sponsored by the library. Of the total $17,000 estimated cost, 80% of total funds have been received. Read it together. A monthly meeting in May. There's a lot of things discussed from the library, the Redwood Chamber, the PTA and the PTSA, the Redwood Emporium, the AmeriCorps Vista Volunteers Program, Bard College Sensitive Civic Engagement, and a brief update from the village. Now I said, this I'm done.
You good?
Brett,
Yes, sir.
back on the highway department,
Yep.
how is the lawn debris and brush curbside pickup?
It's going well. I mean, they've been able to keep up, and they've been finishing their work. You know, they do garbage first in the morning. They're done around 10:30, and then the rest of the day is devoted to that. So just driving around the village, it seems like most of the piles are picked up. It seems to be working out well. So far, so good.
Okay.
So we haven't been swamped, and actually I was just out the well field today, the old well field, checking out with the new wells and just scoping up the site for the new water project. And you know, there's some debris in there, but I think they've been keeping up pretty well. They started, you know, disposing of some of the waste out on the lot. We're now putting our debris in, and so far so good.
And Steve, I've gotten great feedback from residents. They really like it because the folks that don't own trucks, is always a bit of a hassle to get things out to the brush pile. So I know on my street, they seem to have it. They do garbage, and a couple hours later they're through with the backhoe, and they load it onto a low trailer and pull it
Yeah,
off.
no.
Looks
Seems to
good.
be working good in
Yeah.
my neighborhood.
Good, yeah.
I was just wondering, are they seeing an increase of debris or?
Well, they did a special pickup last week after the storm. So they did, I think on Friday or Thursday or Friday, they went around and picked up a lot of the big debris that fell down. Today was a little lighter load. They had done stuff last week, but this will be actually the second official time they've done it, right? And, but it's been working out well.
And on your catch basins,
Yes.
you'll have finished the north end of the village?
We had X amount of dollars allocated for that, and they spent 2 days straight just on East Market Street. So what we're doing is, with the FEMA reimbursement that we'll have, and plus what we've allocated for this year, we'll finish up the north. all the streets that I mentioned. So that'll be done, and then next year we'll go to a different quadrant.
Right.
So that the idea is every year we'll do a third of the village continually. So once every 3 years, your neighborhood will be, catch basins and culverts will be cleaned. So I think the last time we pumped the ones over on East Market Street, over 20 years ago. So they were quite full. That's why so much time was spent on that. So we have noticed that after the big rainstorm, those drained pretty well. So it was a good exercise.
Thank you.
And just a little homework for all of us. When Brent reported on the block grant for the well field improvement at 5 and 6, we're working today a bit on it too. We have to get our RFP done for that to get out. So I thought what we'd do is take the Shell RFP that we use for water operator and then pull out information and add information for this project. So probably we'll start that and then we'll circulate that out to everybody, just take a peek at it for some input.
We were over there today again, just looking at, making sure the entire scope of work will be represented in the RFP. So there's a couple things that we need to add, and some requirements, as issued by Dutchess County Planning, to satisfy yet on that. So hopefully we'll start that soon.
Okay, let's see. So we'll move to regular business. We heard from Will from SCA about the program we use currently from them, and my presentation on the option of picking up this opportunity with the county to apply for this grant and see if we can get it. It makes total sense to me, and I think everybody would concur, to do it formally, to signal to the lead agency and then to the county that the Village of Red Hook is interested. I prepared a resolution. It's something that the various other municipalities will use as well. Cindy will give us a number at the top there, but essentially it's a resolution authorizing the Village of Red Hook to participate in the Municipal Consolidation and Shared Services Grant Program for the purchase of Municity software by Dutchess County. There's a series of whereases. We could have the clerk read them, but the last one, and just to make clear for everybody on the board and in the audience, the village would like to participate in the application and let Hyde Park be the lead, and essentially it's a no-cost factor to us. They'll do it. I'd like to be sure they write it up well. We have some pretty sophisticated grant writers on our board, so we might be able to, if we could get an edit chance from them before they send it in, might give us a better shot. But it seems to me, between a multiple group of municipalities ranging from towns to villages, it should have a good shot at getting some money here. And Will, when he was speaking, mentioned our rate, what it costs us to buy it. And it's basically priced by the size of your municipality, meaning they perceive how much action and use you'll have in the program. So a bigger town, or like say Hyde Park versus us, they would be actually paying far more than that $7,500 that he mentioned for us. So I think the combined value is somewhere up in the $200,000 range that the whole grant would be looking for when you put the 15 munis in and based on their size and so forth. So
how much what is the current total available for this one?
$2 million is what they promote, and then
for this particular grant.
Why this will be competing with other shared services grants.
So there's $2 million total, and then this one's asking for $200,000.
Right. And the other thing we're already working on is with the town of Red Hook, looking at a grant to further study highway department consolidation and options there. We filed with the Department of State for a grant in that regard, but we haven't heard from them yet, and we're thinking, well, as a backup, fallback position, we'll have another one, but we're still working on that. But I don't see anything bad about this. Like you said, it's already the software we use, and we need to upgrade sooner or later anyway. But I don't know, Cindy, do you feel like reading the first whereas there for us and giving, I guess, the resolution number first? Do you have
9.
such? 9, okay.
Whereas the village board requires effective and modern operations, and the building zoning department needs a software system upgrade. It requires a well-functioning and well-managed computer operating system to handle the business regulatory affairs of that department. And whereas the village already uses Software Consulting Associates, has become aware of a shared services opportunity that has identified new software provided by Software Consulting Associates, known as Unicity, software, which would greatly improve operations throughout the village's building department. Whereas the County of Dutchess is promoting shared services amongst municipalities as a way of reducing costs and saving taxpayer dollars. Whereas the Town of Hyde Park is initiating a joint application on behalf of all municipalities who are intending to be part of the application for the purpose of Municity software. Whereas Municity software will contribute to a greater government efficiency. Whereas the collective purchase of Municity software will result in a cost savings for all municipalities. Whereas 100% of the purchase costs of the software will be provided by the County of Dutchess. Subsequent annual contract costs will be by each municipality. Whereas each town or village shall provide to the Town of Hyde Park and SCA, the software provider, a resolution to declare intent to participate in the said grant application. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Red Hook does hereby declare its intent to participate in said grant application with the lead applicant as Town of Hyde Park, and to join with other municipalities in an application to the Municipal Consolidation and Shared Services Grant Program for the procurement of Municity software, and to execute all related application documents.
And that's it. So I would entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 9 to authorize us to move ahead for the shared services grant. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, folks? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor? Thank you. Let's see, item number 2 is something we talked about and I was working on a little bit more recently. We'd like to provide a 15-minute parking section in front of Route 9 South, in front of the Red Oak Nico's drugstore there. I've sent a letter to New York State DOT, just waiting some input back from them. But it looks like it's set up where we wouldn't have to add any more uprights, any more columns to hang a sign off. I think we could just work with what's there, so we don't need to further obstruct or put more things in the way there. We're not prepared to vote on it tonight, but just want to give you an update. We're looking to move forward with that. I think it would do a good service just to have one slot there to get folks in and out. More of a quick pickup delivery for that one slot on that further south corner, meaning the northwest corner, but the one parking point most southward. So I'll keep you updated on that. We're dealing with DOT permits and that sort of thing.
I have a question.
Sure.
Was that requested by someone?
It was, somebody reached out as a good idea, and yes.
Then if we receive more requests for 15-minute parking slots in other areas of the village, we're going to approach them with the same.
I would say not. My thinking on that is the particular spot there is designed, it's a prescription use at that place where there's a need for people to get in, get out quickly. Tends to be some elderly, some possibly handicapped, or as they hunt around for more distant parking places, being that they're ill, seeing a doctor, coming back for the prescription. It just seems like it might be the right thing to do to put something there. Whereas
It's location. I mean, if you look at a business that's located in the middle of the block, say for instance, you could park 50 feet either way of that business and not be very far away. If you're a corner business, the shot is a little bit harder because the parking is pulled back away from the corner, and so therefore your parking starts not in front of your business. So if you were able to take and put, especially for, say for instance, if you have something like a pharmacy, where a large part of the business is 15 or 20 minutes. You run in, you pick up a prescription, you run back out. It's kind of like well suited to that sort of function. So
yeah, good point. Jay's doing his three-dimensional geometry there for us, but you know what he's saying? You lose your parking because of the highway intersection, and then you turn the corner, it's a little tough because there's setbacks on corner parking anyway.
Well, I mean, you could have the post office. So just what he's saying.
I have a question too, Ed.
Good. Yep.
So if for instance this business were to, this is use specific for the pharmacy, so any business that may inhabit that corner site that would be a 15, that would be part of that.
My goal would be any person, for whatever business you're going to, has the right to use it. It's not private parking or anything. It's just 15-minute versus 2 hour for one spot. And I toyed with the option of handicap 15-minute, but not everybody that needs a prescription is necessarily handicapped. So I think this looks like the best option to me. I think it's fair. And we know, we've been doing some pre-application talk with CVS, and it seems like the trend in pharmacy world is drop in, drop out type of drive-in window type construction, and we're working with that. And I think in this case, we have a privately owned local business too that I think we'd like to make sure they have equal footing under our codes and our parking options. But more importantly, I think it's not just for them. It's anybody that you could run across the street and pick up a cup of coffee at J&J, or run to Sipley's, or run, I don't know what else would be short term there. You're not going to park for 15 minutes and get a tattoo, but you'll...
Well, you could.
A very small one? Or?
It'd be just a guy.
But,
So is this something that could be easily enforced too, the enforcement part of this thing? I know we're having some enforcement issues with the 2-hour parking.
Well, we've talked with the PD, and I think it was our last workshop we had reminded them that we would like that 2-hour. Ironically, we do see some of the folks parking for more than 2 hours oftentimes are the business owners, which is counterintuitive and counterproductive. But to answer your question, we're not going to have anybody there every 15 minutes, but it would be the sign is there, and as you're doing a 2-hour enforcement, there'd be more turnover. There should be more turnover in that 15-minute spot. So.
I think the reality is that if you've got a 2-hour parking, you're probably going to get 2.5 hours or a little more or something like that before somebody comes back to check your tires, whereas same for the 15 minutes. It might be 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes that you have people there, but the whole idea is to just shorten duration. Like a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit means 35 miles an hour. 15-minute parking means 20, 25 minutes. So I think we're just trying to shorten the process to allow some of the businesses with more limited parking than others to have a fair shot. At least that's the reality for me.
And I think ironically too, there's this perceived 2-lane situation there sometimes, and by actually having cars parked there for 15 minutes, it might be better, because folks tend to think that's a second right-hand turn lane, even though the light says no right turn on red. So I think it might help fill that spot a little more. But I think overall it's worth trying. I have reached out to DOT. They didn't have any major negative reaction, but we just have to go through a process. We're not voting on it here right now. Just appreciate your comments. Move on to another thing. Backflow preventers. We had started a process on this about 3 or 4 months ago and drafted up a relatively detailed position stance on it, meaning we know we are required by New York State Department of Health rules and regulations that certain occupancies need to have backflow preventers, and we're developing the wording that we wanted in our first letter out to folks, and we want to take a somewhat kid glove approach, meaning we want to get a letter out and tell people that there is a requirement and ask if they're already complying but just not advising us about it. Ironically, there is an annual test that's required, so we should know about their prevention device and their annual report of its effectiveness. But we'll be getting that letter out shortly too, so if folks are watching, we'll be generating a letter shortly. It'll be going out, and I just want you all to know what that's about. I thought I had a few other business. One thing I threw on here was online banking policy. What we were doing was, so the treasurer and the controller can work and look at bank deposits. Lately, especially with capital projects, we get a lot of wire transfers and different things, and there's been an instance or two where we're always wondering, has money hit our account yet or not? And instead of making calls to the bank, we'd like to enter the next generation of online banking. But what I want to enter it as is a small step forward, but we're not going to be transacting money payments electronically. It would be just give them a read-only type status where they can go and look at the accounts on their computer online. I was reading some auditors' reports, controllers' reports, where they make recommendations, and I copied it. It's relatively straightforward. I'll just hand it out to you. What this is, it's kind of interesting reading. I think Steve gets it. I don't know if the rest of you get it. It's New York State Controller DiNapoli does a weekly report on audits he's done of towns, cities, school districts, municipalities in general. It's and he gives some thoughts. When he sees issues in other munis, I look and see what we do. Are we on board? Should we make a correction? Like I said, we don't do online banking per se right now. We have done wire transfers and different things like that historically. But what I put together here was the fact that we'll need to be able to work with various accounts of record online, since we just signed a banking agreement with our bank, KeyBank, to do that. And effective, what I want to do is put these constraints on effective immediately, so we have some oversight. And what we're saying is online banking will only be used by treasurer and consulting accountant / controller. Each must have a unique and separate password. Online banking will not involve electronic transfers of funds at this time until a formal process is defined, and then this restriction can be lifted. Online bank will be read-only and used to view and review account balances. Current method of wire transfers will continue, but with oversight of treasurer by mayor and/or consulting accountant. What that is, we're just trying to say we're not going to move money by hitting an enter button here. We just want to be able to see things. And then I guess I'm calling this a village board and a resolution of village board. I view it as more as an in-house housekeeping type of document. It's not part of our code or anything. It's just a policy statement on how we'll deal with this capability. So those were the 4 points I think I floated out to some of you for some ground. I guess I sent them more to Cindy and the controller just to see, to let them know I was thinking about this and this is how we would deal with it. Before we vote, I just would open it for discussion. I think we all probably get the nature of it and need to do it. It's just an in-house control policy. And if somebody were to audit us, we should be able to say we don't have everybody in the operation able to cut checks and write checks electronically. It's read-only. And then we could work and see if something makes sense. But essentially, we are paper committed still with vouchers and different things. We just really can't do much electronic banking, but so we can see balances when we need them. Anyway, I would make a motion that I guess it would be resolution number 10-2013 to adopt a Village of Red Hook online banking policy as in the exhibit I just read, edition date June 3rd, 2013. And what I envision with the edition date is we could change this as we go along, but this would be the operating one right now. So essentially be those points that I mentioned. We want to get more modernized, but have some constraints and internal controls. The 4 that I could come up with are the 4 I list. Anything in your world that you see from generative comments?
I think we'll be able to monitor the incoming, like when we get a grant reimbursement online, we'll be able to check that.
Yeah.
We have a problem just kind of identifying what the money is for.
Yeah, I think
We've been pretty good.
That's not going to change. It's just going to show me that it's there.
That it's there rather than calling the bank up.
And we could find out how to check cleared or not. Different things we would see. But we're saying we're not going to issue payments or cancel payments. It's just
monitor the account, basically.
because now Cindy has to pick up the phone, call the bank, give an account number. Has the $92,000 come in from Capital Fund, from EFC, whatever. And it works, but this would be a little quicker. And so, Jay, any thoughts down there?
No, sir.
You good with it?
Good idea.
Okay. I would ask that online banking policy edition date June 3rd, 2013 be adopted by the village board as distributed to you folks. And we'll incorporate it in our personnel policy world. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you have a copy? Okay. All right. Let's see.
Mr. Mayor, I think we'll pause now for a tape.
Okay. We'll take a 5-minute break.
George had
Good?
Oh,
Okay, we're back live. Let's see. One other thought, just folks from our workshop, we had voted and approved that collective display, installation, display, sculpture show rule.
collective installation and display permit.
Yeah, we're very wordy up here. What we have is, back in Cindy's office, the group did provide photos of the artwork, site descriptions, the different things we required in that list. I don't think we'll do it in the public, I think if you just want to peruse it, and I would ask, I know it's time sensitive, but I think with everybody's schedule, maybe by the end of business Friday, if you could all have looked at it, and we'll check it off. I can show it to you where it is now. And then, I don't know what the board's thought is, July 8th. I'm inclined to move our July 1st meeting to July 8th. A couple of reasons. July 4th falls in the middle of that holiday week, so to speak. I know Clerk Cole is off that week, are you, of the
first week.
which would be, you'd be off the 1st and coming back on the 8th?
Yeah,
Both of which are kind of tough for you to deal with, I guess. But,
I can do it. I did
can
it
you?
today.
Okay. And then I'm just thinking the 3rd is tough enough to get certain monthly reports out. The 1st would be a little harder, especially everybody's gearing up for summer vacation. There's different things in other worlds we work in. So is there a motion to move them July 1 to July 8th? Does that work for everybody?
So moved.
Jay, you go with that?
Good.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So we'll go July 8th. So if you're watching on Panda and you're filming for Panda, we'll go July 8th. Let's see. That's it for the extra things I had. A couple thoughts. We do need to go to executive session on real estate and personnel, but let's talk to the public first. We'll go to those and then come back here. Please, before we go to public comment, any other business from the board members? Good. Public comment? George?
On that subject you brought up today about the parking, the 15-minute parking, that intersection is probably the worst in the village. That particular corner is probably the worst of the 4. You're going from possibly a car door opening every 2 hours to 8 times in that time span. Talking about elderly people in some cases in a rush. I can lose a lot of car doors there because of truck traffic. Question on the time on this. Is this going to be 24/7? 15 minutes parking?
I don't think anybody enforces it 24/7. I know we don't have
In this town,
24/7.
they village, they will.
No.
That's the next thing. How much is a parking ticket cost?
I don't know what our code is. I don't know what our code says.
25,
15,
50
25. I really don't know.
And once somebody gets a ticket parking there, whether they're going after hours to one of the other clubs or the bars or something, or even the restaurants in the area, they're not coming back. You get burnt on a parking ticket, you're going to Kingston.
Well,
And that's the intent.
The ticket.
Yes. No, not the ticket. To respect the sign. If the change is to facilitate an ease of movement into the adjacent businesses, and if you abuse the privilege, then you get a ticket. So then if you decide, if you're going to be habitual about it and get several tickets, then you're going to get aggravated and go to Kingston, that's fine.
I think one
That's
thing
not
it'll
what
do
we're
it for
looking
most
for.
people. But if I asked if there was a time frame, like after 8 o'clock or something,
I'm sure it could be, 15-minute parking,
You might want to
Monday
ask
through
some of the
Friday
other
from
businesses
9 to
other than the
5
one
or
in
something
front.
like that.
whether they had any issues with it, because it could affect their customers.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Ask other businesses in the area, other than just one, to see if they have an issue with it, because their customers, unless you know that sign is there, it's never been there before, it's going to be the only sign possibly in the entire village, 15-minute stops. Somebody's going to get snagged on it, probably a lot of people, after 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night.
Well, I guess technically, no, I don't think any of our 2-hour parking signs have a time of day statement on them.
Yeah,
It just says
2 hours
two.
is 2 hours, or this is 15 minutes.
Yeah, but-
It's catch a lot of people by surprise, and
But we could add 15-minute parking, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Something that could.
something is one way, but the other, my concern is, again, people in a rush at that intersection, at that corner, probably the most dangerous spot to do that.
Well, I appreciate your input. What I would say is street parking is street parking. You can't park in front of mobile. You turn the corner, you have the same issue. Actually, to me, 199 is way narrower. At least 9, you have some width. And then what we would have to do is, it's subject to public hearing. It's a local law modification, so we would have to have.
Right, you just have to bring it up to the point
Yeah,
that
no, it's-
that didn't come up in your conversation.
so we would have-
I think that should,
That would come up
look at that, that's all.
once the state comments we would have to set a public hearing, and I don't envision it as a major thing, but I appreciate your input. Yeah.
Could be a nuisance or dangerous, so just throwing that out there.
Thank you. Let's see, I would say then, I would entertain a motion to go to executive session for real estate discussion and personnel discussion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? So 9 o'clock, we'll go off, and we shouldn't be too long if you want to hang out. We'll be back.
Appearances are good. Thank you.
Are we impaneled? Could we have a motion, Mr. Trapp, to resume regular business from executive session?
Motion to resume the meeting.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? We're back at like 9:22. Looking through my list, we've done our regular business, our department reports, we've heard other business. I think looks like we've gotten through the agenda we needed to tonight. Is there a motion to review and pay bills after audit?
So moved.
Second of that? All in favor?
Aye.
And then on my list, looks like we're ready to adjourn. Mr. Kowalczyk, do you agree?
I do, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good night, folks. Good night.